Hello, this is Sheshachalam from Astroguide Mysore. So today, starting the topic of Vimshottari Dasha, that is the planetary periods which have been defined as per the Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra. So I have started two series. One is the medical astrology, which has come up to one level, and I'll be continuing that. And we'll also be parallelly doing Vimshottari Dasha for all the 9 planets, starting from Sun till Ketu, and how actually it works and their positions in the chart. I'll come to the details. So, Vimshottari Dasha has already been defined. I have done the video on how to calculate Vimshottari Dasha, because Vimshottari Dasha is done from the moon's placement in the horoscope, and the moon's nakshatra, the nakshatra pada, and the exact degree has been taken, and the span of the nakshatra is calculated, and each nakshatra has a nakshatradipati, that is the lord of the nakshatra, and nakshatra means constellation, so the lord of the constellation. So for example, if I take Mula nakshatra, the lord of the constellation is Ketu, and Ketu is allotted 7 years. So if you take the planetary flow in the Vimshottari Dasha, it starts from Ketu 7 years, Venus 20 years, Sun 6 years, we have Moon 10 years, Mars 7 years, then Rahu 18 years, Jupiter for 16 years, Saturn 19 years, and Mercury for 17 years. So we have the nakshatras like Ashwini Makha Mula for Ketu. So if I go into the series, it will be like Ashwini, Bharani, Kritika, Rohini, Mrigashira, Aridra, Punarasu, Pushya, Ashlesha, first line. Makha, Pubba, Uttara, Hasta, Chitta, Swati, Vishakha, Anuradha, Jyeshtha. Next, that is the second arc. The third one is Mula, Purva, Ashada, Uttara, Ashada, Shravana, Dhanishta, Shatabisha, Purva, Bhadra, Uttara, Bhadra, Revati. So 27 nakshatras, 27 constellations having their lords. So it's easy for us, we put it in the fingertips. It's easy for us to calculate from where to where we can do the Tara Bala, Nakshatra Bala, Guru Bala, and all those things here only. So this is just a preamble of Vimshottari Dasha. So one should understand that this particular class will be with regard to planets, their results. Anyway, for the Vimshottari Dasha system itself, their results with regard to where they are placed in the horoscope from the native's ascendant, the lordship, the Shatbala, the other Uchchasthana, Nichasthana, Vakra. These are not discussed in this particular chapter because it becomes quite complicated for us to go into that detail. Like for example, if I take Jupiter, so what happens if Jupiter is sitting from its ascendant sign of Sagittarius in the 8th house in Karkataka Rashi, which is retrograde? Now I'm getting 8th house as one parameter, Karkataka Rashi, that is Cancer sign, second parameter, Uchchasthana, exalted, third parameter, Vakra, that is retrograde, fourth parameter, and because it is in the 8th house, does it get that Shatbala, fifth parameter? So all these 5 parameters, out of that, we are only taking 8th house, Jupiter, irrespective of the ascendant. This is not 8th house for Sagittarius. So that is the 6th parameter, the ascendant itself. So just imagine, astrology is quite an intrigue system, scientifically beautifully proven system, which pulled me into this in a very, when I was very young. So it is not that I took it as an obsession. I took it as a clean, serious, calculative study. So people, when I was young, they would all make fun that why is this fellow getting into Vedas, Puranas, astrology? What this fellow? You can do it when you are 50 or 60. So I would always, mock. They would mock me. I would laugh and answer back. I would tell them that I am catching the bus today, but you people will be scampering to catch the bus when you are old. Better sit in the seat now. So, so that was, I would make jokes. So let us go into the Vimshottari Dasha. So today we are talking about the Vimshottari Dasha for Sun. Sun, the Mahadasha of Sun, its results. We are talking about the Mahadasha now. We are not going into the Sabdashas, Sub-Sabdashas, the Mahadasha, Antardasha, Pratyantardasha, Sukshmadasha, and Pranadasha. These are the 5 levels. So the 5 levels are directly associated with physical, emotional, psychological, spiritual, and intellectual properties of the person. So if you ask me, does the event, where the event actually happens, who controls the event? So event is controlled by all the 5, but in different ways. So the planet, which is the Mahadasha, he is like the CEO of the company. So he takes major strategic decisions. So same way, the Mahadasha Lord will give you a platform to set up your life, settle your life, make it stable or unstable, depending on whether it is a benefic, malefic, weak, strong planet in your chart. Okay, going to the Sun Mahadasha. Sun, when it is in the 12 houses from the Ascendant, first house, Sun has a karakatva, that is a signification of ego. Ego should not be taken as a negative word at all. It is just a noun in which it tells that a person would want his recognition. He wants to know his identity, his placement, his respect, his position, his stature, wherever he is. So, if Sun is placed in the first house, a person gets recognition. We are now talking about the benefic part of Sun, not going into the malefic part. If people ask me, what if Sun is, weakly placed because there is Rahu Grasta Surya in the, this is the 7th thing. I am not going into those, specifications now. So, specifications will deal when we take charts. No, we will take charts and we will do it on the board. Anyway, I have a big green board. So I will do it on the board. Explain what happened to this person in the Sandasha. Go into the intricacies. So, recognition, fame, government grants, subsidies for any project, government allotted plan, plot or land, power. You know what power I am talking? It's about the power in the social strata, good health, confidence. This word confidence is the signification of Sun because it represents the soul. So, Lagna, the physical entity, Moon, the emotional entity, Sun, we are talking about the confidence or the soul. So, physical, emotional, that is the mind, and soul, the confidence, Atma. Then you have Maya, Rahu, and then you have spirituality, Ketu. These are the 5 most important things which have to, actually we have to just go from Lagna, Moon, Sun, Rahu, Ketu, our life should be very easy, finished. But we get entangled with the other fellows, no? The other 5 fellows. We get entangled with Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn. These are the food. these give us the food to our distractions. Okay. So, confidence, government job, and depends upon the strength. Anyway, it has been very specifically, Madam has made a big list, and we have discussed on this. Very nicely done. Thank you. So, second house.
You can tell the negative also. Just
Negatives is a huge thing. Let us do it later.
not keep doing so many classes.
How to do it, or else?
Just tell
Okay.
first.
It will take a big. It will take 40 minutes. Okay. Sorry, we interrupted between the discussion. So, ma'am is asking me to even give 2 or 3 points of the negative placement in the first house. And what sort of negative placement I am thinking, whether it is Rahu Grasta Surya, whether it is
Weak sun.
Neecha Surya. Okay, defame. Just invert this particular thing. Defamation, sudden loss of job, demotion, loss of health, hair fall, scars on the face or acne. All these things will start suddenly because of a weak Surya, and its dasha starts when it is in the first house. So, second house, acquisition of wealth. It's a beautiful placement for Surya in the second house. It gives excellent wealth from predecessors, that is your grandfathers, great grandfathers, ancestral property will be giving you wealth. So, good job directly or indirectly related to the government once again, or even quasi government or semi government jobs, and sometimes the voice will be rough as me, but I do not have Surya in the second house. So the my voice is rough because I have some other planet somewhere. I'll tell you later on. I will discuss that chart later. So what happens when it becomes negative in the second house is overconfidence with regard to family ties, because second house also represents family. So what actually a person does with a hyper sun, or what we call as a overconfident sun in the second house, he would start to control the family members wherever he is, and he would say that, you need to listen to me, you need to do what I say, go in my path. So these things will be like, it will become like more of a demand or more of a enforced ruling. So because sun is a ruler like a king, but when it becomes weak, it will enforce unnecessary pressure on others. So this is a very negative thing when sun is in the second house. There is one more point which is very important in the sun dasha. This can be applied when sun is very weak. That doesn't mean the ego dies. The person craves for recognition. He craves for a placement or a respect, even in family, with wife or with husband, in the profession, wherever he is, he would crave for recognition, identity, and respect and position. If sun is well placed, let us say strong, positively strong, the person will command respect. That means wherever he goes, he doesn't have to ask. Now, people will give him respect because of what he has done and what he is made of. The metal he is made of. And sun is extremely strong, overconfident. That person demands respect. So he doesn't get respect, but because people are afraid of his position, it is like, respecting a politician, because we can't do anything else there, because he might get to know that we disrespect him and he will send his people, so these things. So it is like you are afraid of his position and you are respecting him, and you are not giving that respect from your heart. So these three classifications of Surya has to be understood when you see the chart. Okay, third house, very active, hardworking, good for sports, and blunt speech. Blunt. And these people are good for wrestling, boxing, taekwondo, judo, all sports which are using the arm. They are like the crab with the very strong arm, like the lobster, the crab, like the kangaroo, super boxers. So these people are very strong. So they can go into martial arts, like javelin throwers, etc. So the same thing, if it becomes weak, then a person can falter in his speech because his ego will come in the front. It will mask his buddhi, that is the intellect, chitta, buddhi, prajna, the present conscious, it will mask it. So when it masks the present conscious, what will happen? He is speaking out of nowhere on the stage, talking something, and suddenly in between he blabbers, and that one point can be a deciding factor of his whole career. There are many people who have unnecessarily spoken some nonsense, and they have lost very good positions, and they have been sacked and thrown out. This happens because of a very weak, tarnished Surya in the third house. Fourth house. Here, Surya loses Digbala. Okay. Acquiring agricultural plot or land. You need to till the soil and sweat. You know, little unrest or discomfort at home. Obviously, sun is not a karaka for sukha. Sukha means enjoyment, pleasurable, comfortable living. Sun is not a karaka for that. So when he is sitting in the fourth house and his dasha comes, this is all dasha bhuktis. It's not when sun is in the fourth house. It is sun is in the fourth house and its period is running. Mahadasha is running. That is what. This is the class on Vimshottari Dasha. Sun in the fourth house has already been spoken. Yeah.
It gets activated.
Yeah, it gets triggered, it gets activated, so it becomes more stronger, and it becomes prominent factor for that person in that period of life. So building home, earthwork, arguments in the family, stress and strained relationships, too much of hard work, you need to sweat it out. That's what she has written. Excellent. So heart related problems, both positive and negative, happen because of the upper heart problems, fourth house. Okay. So going to the fifth house, because I have told you one negative here, the heart related problem. I'll not go into too many negatives here today. So the fifth house, higher studies, opportunities to learn one's own scriptures, the Vedas, the mantras, even biblical studies. So all these studies where your orientation is towards the Almighty, towards the great spirit of this world, the creation. People have different ways of understanding what is God. If you take out the definitions for God and love, these are the biggest definitions. God, love, and then comes life. So these are huge definitions. People have written books and books and books on this. The whole world reads this, walks through this, but the orientation will come when you have a super solid malefic. This is sun is a natural malefic, and when a super solid malefic like sun, which is the huge planet in our solar system,
Conscious planet.
a conscious planet, when it is sitting in the fifth house, the house of imagination, then you will consciously try to figure out what you want to be. So the path will be very clear, very beautiful. So philosophical, books and ethical living. So this is very strong when sun is in the fifth house. So not much of a negative happen when sun is in the fifth house, except for delay in childbirth or difficulties in childbirth or difficulties in conceiving. Because conceiving is a small event, but it's such an important event that, you know, uh, after conceiving, the lady goes through 9 months of pregnancy, which is a huge event, because the initial 3 months are for the moon, then comes the Mars and all those things. It is there. We'll talk about that also later in one of the videos. But the initial conceiving, it happens only in seconds and minutes. So that is controlled by Sun, and Karako Bhavanashaya, when Sun sits in the fifth house, the house where the eggs are produced and the conceiving is to be seen, Sun sometimes will give unnecessary garbhavata, that is abortions, or it can also give difficulties in conceiving. So let us go to the sixth house. Getting into a job which is service oriented, like becoming a doctor, getting into police service, army. So these people are not doing just a job. It is not just another clerical job. It's not that I have any bad ideas on clerical job. These people are also very important to the society. But we don't call that as social service. It's not social service. Even though you pay 1 crore per month to a soldier who is standing in the front, who is ready to take the bullet, that money is not having any value. That means he is doing a service. He voluntarily is so strong that he wants to do something for the country. So even doctors, people who are, yeah, on the streets controlling traffic. So it all depends on where Sun is, whether it is weak or whether it is strong. So getting into a job where service is strong, litigation or court proceedings due to false, you know, accusations, allegations, and fault related to the government, like we have, in case you have not paid your taxes, you suddenly get a notice. These things are all seen in the sixth house. Particularly when Sun is on the sixth house, which is a strong position for Sun, no doubt. All the four Upachaya sthanas are extremely strong for Sun, particularly 3, 6, 11. It's a very benefic position for Sun. Being a malefic in the sixth house, it's a super solid position for Sun. But with all that, it will give health related problems if the person does not respect sunrise and sunset. What is the sunrise and sunset, and how do we respect it? Please be awake at that particular period of time. I have seen people who sleep at sunset or who are sleeping at sunrise. So these people will not have clarity in mindset. They will have a lag, and that lag is created because sun shuts off its particular part of consciousness, and it will tell, okay, you did not respect me, I'll not give you that particular mindset to see things clearly. So the clarity goes down. It is like, your glasses are now having a mist, so you can't see properly, something like that. So seventh house, this is a very big, long video, but anyway, seventh house, break in engagement or marriage. So this is very quite often seen because it's a negative. See, we have started from the negative. Or temporary separation due to job related issues, suddenly getting laid off, disinterest in relationships, starting a new business. Again, we came to the positive thing, consultancy or firm. So getting into business. Sun is super planet for business. Travel both for work and family issues. Going to the eighth house. Litigations. This is the first thing which I will say. Again, the negative here, because Sun in the eighth house is not regarded great. But one thing I would say, that Ashtamadipatya dosha is not there for the Sun, particularly for the Capricorn ascendant. you have Leo in the 8th house, and because Sun is the 8th lord, the Dasha Bhuktis should not be, you know, seen with the eye or the mindset, thinking that Sun is the 8th lord. So because you keep that 8th lord perspective at the side, because it will not give the native Ashtamadipatya dosha. That is, being the 8th lord, it will not become a malefic because of that lordship. That's all. So quarrels or problems with the government or authority or anybody who is having power in your company or any place, even with father, the native's father. So paying fines or dues or taxes, health problems, particularly all bilious related problems, fear related problems, pitta problems of pitta, that is the bile. So that's so many other problems are there. We are discussing that in medical astrology. Let us not mix it here. So anger, temperamental issues, court cases will prolong. It might not be in your favor sometimes, and anxiety and stress will build up. So all negatives with Sun in the 8th house, except for some positives. The positive is you can get attracted to astrology, you can get attracted to occult sign, you can get science, and you can get attracted to research, deep science research, scientific research. You can do fantastic work in the nanotechnology, micro science. You can go into power. So many sectors, sun
Many
sectors.
times it is like the option what to choose in life.
Yes,
There's a lot of difference.
yes. So going to the 9th house, a very good position for Sun in the 9th house, but it has mixed results. Let me start. Pilgrimage, tours and travels, getting in to understand our culture. All this is seen from the 9th house. Completing education, completing higher educations like doctorates, fellowships, articleships, getting patents, all this, and completing theses, good name and fame to the family, for the lineage. Family here very clearly is lineage. So you are bringing name to the lineage. It's a fantastic thing. Getting associated with religious institutions. So the 10th house, good job or position, promotion and authoritative, position where you can get very good influential help from the government, because you are also one amongst them in that period of time, but you might be in the background, not in the foreground. So because you have fought for somebody to win, and that person obviously he will help you with all sorts of you know I'll not call it kickbacks. It's a negative word here once again. I will call favors. So as good as that. So grants or aids from government, and can get into politics if there is a strong influence of Mars. Who is the Mars? Who represents the Mars? Saturn. And who represents the other side of politics? Rahu. So if you have these influences on the Lagnadipati are placed in the ascendant, then the 10th house placed Sun with its Dasha Bhukti, fantastic opportunity to get into politics, but try to be as ethical as possible when you have Rahu in the Lagna and the Sun in the 10th house. So 11th, good rental income, mostly from commercial establishments and also from agricultural property, which you might have some, coconut groves, you might have fruit orchards. So you will get income from those kinds of, or you might also have an oil field. People staying in Arabia or the Middle East might tell that, yeah, if I have Sun in the 10th house and I'm not in the government, you might have an oil field. You might make money from that. So going to the 11th house, there is one negative in the 11th house, that the health gets spoiled when sun is in the 11th house, particularly with regard to the eyes. So you need to be careful with regard to your eyesight. Never over use your eyesight, either very much of bright sun. Don't unnecessarily, expose yourself to too much of sun. Ultraviolet can give a little bit of difficulty, and sun does not give you the, um, you have different timings for ultraviolet and infrared. I will not go into those things. So don't unnecessarily get exposed to too much of sun, because you can have scalding, sunburn, and all those things. And there might be also a problem of eyesight because of retinal damage when sun is in the 11th house. So 12th house, detachment from materialistic life, stays little away or aloof from the society, takes a back seat in his activities, hospitalization or medical expenses with regard to family member, not only him. Does charity for religious institutions, like donating food, or donating meals for to the downtrodden, the poor, the refugees, and ashrams, annadana. So the negative of, another one small negative of 12th house sun is that it might bring marital discord, because in that particular dasha bhukti I am talking, it will bring marital discord. So all what we have told today is not because of the placement of the sun there. It is because that particular signification of the sun will get triggered in its mahadasha, and it can give some difficulties. So depending on some planetary placements like Jupiter, like Mars, which are friends of sun, some of this can, negatives will get reduced and positives will get increased. So thank you very much for today's class. God bless.